Hey guys, how are ya? So I've been getting so many people asking me to make a video about my pregnancy and my labor and delivery and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm just finally sitting down and ready to do it. It's a lot that you think, oh, you can easily kind of talk about it, but it takes a lot out of you to think about everything that happened in the last year. So I'm gonna start off from the very, very, very beginning with you guys and go through all of it. So if this video is kind of long, or you don't want to know something about the beginning or the actual pregnancy, or you want to know more about the labor, feel free to skim through the video. But I would love if you watch the whole thing, of course. But I'm just going to do everything from the beginning to when I conceived to the very end and to how Talia is doing now. I just got back from church, so I'm wearing really fancy earrings and stuff, but I'm in leggings. So I am actually filming in Talia's room right now. I was gonna film in our bedroom, but our bedroom's a wreck. Me and Michael actually slept on the couch last night. That doesn't ever happen, but we just fell asleep watching a movie. I'm gonna get started for you guys. This is gonna be a lot, so sit down, get yourselves a snack, get yourself a nice coffee or whatever you like to drink, and stay tuned to watch and hear about this part of my life. That was probably the most craziest thing that's ever gonna happen to me in my life. At least I hope nothing more intense happens in my life, because this is pretty intense. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning. So Michael and I first got married, we got married on December 28th of 2018. So our 1-year anniversary is coming up in 2-3 weeks. First of all, I cannot believe that we've got a whole year down in the books. Best year of my life. I love my husband. Shout out to you, honey. You're great. You're a great dad. You're a great husband. And me and TT love you more than anyone will ever love anyone. So we got married. And the week of us getting married, we had only 4 or 5 days together before we got married. He was actually here in California, but he was at his schoolhouse. He was at SOI, which is School of Infantry. It's a school for his MOS, basically his job in the Marine Corps. So he was here for that, and he came home, but I had gotten to Mississippi for our wedding before he got home, a few days. I think a day or two I was there first. But when Michael got to Mississippi, I was oh my God, we're getting married. We had all these things going on. And then Michael was I want to have a baby. And I was huh? You want to have a huh? At this point, we had I had adopted Charlie. We had Charlie. I was we have a dog. We're good. And I had wanted to just be married for the first year of our marriage. I didn't want to make it crazy with anything else, because I already knew it was going to be a crazy year between moving across the country and getting a house and getting everything we needed for the house. On top of that, now we had to get baby stuff. What? So I was no, sir, I do not want to do that. And he was just please just think about it, pray about it. And so we ended up praying about it together, and I prayed about it. And right after our wedding, I went off my birth control. It was the day of our wedding. I just didn't take it that day. A lot went into deciding it. Talia, a lot of people are oh, they're so young. It was an accidental pregnancy. No, Talia was so wanted. Any kid we have, even if it's not planned, is going to be so loved and so wanted from us. I don't know. I can't explain it. When you're a parent, you just know, you just know. So it was planned. I went off my birth control the night of our wedding, and I was okay. We prayed about it. I prayed about it. And I was okay. I was raised for most of my life by my single mother, and actually all of my life until I was about 17, 18 years old. My whole life, I always wanted to be a mom. It's just a huge thing on my heart. I'm like, yeah, like I want to do my photography, but I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to make my own hours. I want to do things that, like, you know, I want to be able to be home with my kids. I want to be able to be a mom, a real, like, good mom. Not saying that, like, if you aren't a stay-at-home mom that you're not a good mom, because that is a totally different topic. Moms are amazing no matter what. If you can work and be a mom, hell yeah, props to you. But I just wanted to be there for my kid, and I was like, this is the perfect time, because Michael and I, we have our home. We were about to get our home. We were financially stable, just all that stuff. It just all went into it, and I was like, this is good. Like, I feel ready, and you know, God just spoke to my heart and was like, I want you to be a mom. And I was like, okay. So literally, I stopped taking my birth control the day of our wedding, and we were having sex. I went home from Mississippi like 4 or 5 days after our wedding. So I flew back to New York. I went home and I was like, Mom, I could be pregnant. I'm not sure. So let's go get some tests. Took one of those, and I actually filmed that, and I will insert a little clip of that for you right here. Okay, y'all, I did it. I'm so nervous. Okay, I just looked at it. Okay, it says negative. It says negative. So yeah, it was negative, and I was like, what? And I did some more reading, and it was like, oh, you know, your HCG level, it takes a while for that hormone to start building in your body that makes your pregnancy test show up positive. So when you're pregnant, you produce a hormone, wow, I can't speak, I'm sorry. A hormone called HCG. And if it's not high enough, the pregnancy test will not show up. So that's why, like, when you're really early, the line for a pregnancy test is really faint. So it was negative, obviously. And I was like, what the heck? And I moved here, and Michael and I were like, yeah, we're not pregnant, whatever. And then after being here for like a week, we were literally about to move into our house like the next day. And I was staying with my friend Laura. Shout out to Laura, I love you. She actually lives here with her husband. We are like longtime besties. We grew up together dancing, so it was so weird that we like reconnected here, because I hadn't spoken to her in years. So that was awesome. But I was staying with my friend Laura, and Michael and I were like, okay, like I should be pregnant, right? So we kept going out and buying test after test after test. And I'm like, why am I not pregnant? I got here January 18th. I moved to California. So think about it, like that's like a month. I was like, why am I not like popping up, whatever. So we got our house, and literally Michael and I were trying so hard. I'm not gonna go into details, but we were really trying to get pregnant, and I just wasn't showing up positive. And then one day we had some of his buddies over to our house that he had gone to boot camp with, or maybe he was at SOI with, I'm not really sure, but they were some buddies of his, and we had them come down all the way from SOI, which is like up North Camp Pendleton, which is about like 45 minutes an hour depending on traffic and whatnot. So they came down, and then we actually brought them home back up north the next morning. And since we were already up there, it's like in like a town city called San Clemente. So since we were up there, we're like, let's just go explore. Like, I hadn't ever been there. I was like, let's just go, and we'll get lunch or whatever. So Michael and I ended up going to this Mexican restaurant, and I was like, I do not want to wear this bra right now. Like, we got in the car, and we were heading home, and I literally took off my bra. I was like, I am not wearing this. My boobs hurt so bad. Like, that was my first indication. I was like, my boobs hurt so bad. Went home, I took a test, and you guys saw that video. If you haven't seen that video, go down in our page and watch our video of me finding out I was pregnant and me telling Michael, because it's a cute video. So I came home, I took that, and it was positive, and I was overjoyed, guys. Like, when you are trying, like, it wasn't even that we were trying for that long. I, like, see, like, some of my family members and my friends now that, like, are having trouble getting pregnant, and I'm like, why was I stressing? Like, that's really not that much time. And, like, I'm very, very grateful. We both are very blessed that, you know, it didn't take, you know, medication and a lot of, you know, time to conceive, and feel very fortunate for that. And I honestly say it was all because of God's timing, you know, like, if it had been any sooner, any later, it wouldn't have been Talia. Like, it would have been a completely different human being. And isn't that crazy to think of? Like, yes, it's still half you, half your husband, but it's not Talia. Like, what? It's just crazy to me to think about that. I don't know. But I totally just feel like it was just God's timing, you know? And so I was pregnant. We told Michael's mom right away. We called her. I told my sister. My mom was supposed to be coming down like the next day or like 2 days after, I forget. I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I took the original test. So I quick called like my doctor and I was like, I need to get in, get a test. I want to make sure I'm pregnant. So I went in and it was confirmed that I was pregnant, and I surprised my mom with that. You'll also see that if you watch the video of me finding out I'm pregnant, me telling my mom and us telling Michael's mom and stuff. My first trimester was really, really tough. When I first got here, I was thinking like, maybe I'll get a job, like at least a part-time job, like keep me busy while Michael's at work, whatever. But my first trimester was so awful and terrible that I could have not, there's no way I could have worked. Like, I don't know how people who have like bad first trimesters like me work. Like, there's no way. I would wake up, puke, middle of the night, puke, sit up, puke, eat, puke, drink water, drink anything, puke. Like, I was puking all the time. Headaches, stomach aches, I was tired. It was insane. Like, my first trimester was hell. It was so bad. My second trimester rolled around. The nausea kind of stopped, which was really nice. I still had it a little bit here and there, but for the most part it stopped. I was just really tired, and at this point I was like, it's too close for me now to get a job. Why would I get a job? Like, whatever. So I went to my 20-week anatomy scan, which if you plan to become pregnant, you should know about the 20-week anatomy scan. If you have already been pregnant, you know what the 20-week anatomy scan is. Basically, it's just they do an ultrasound and all that, and they look at all the baby's like organs and the brain, the heart, and how the baby's growing and developing, and like just making sure that everything is growing and functioning properly within your uterus. So I went to that, and my blood work had came back that we tested positive for spina bifida. If you don't know what spina bifida is, it's basically where like your spine at the very bottom of like your tailbone and your spine, it starts growing like outside your body. It can cause developmental delays, like you can become paralyzed, just things like that. And that was really, really scary for both Michael and I, but I have to give props to Michael because he was so strong through all of it. Like, he was just like, everything's gonna be okay. We need to trust God. Let's pray. Like, trust God, everything's fine. Trust God, everything's fine. And I'm carrying this life. My hormones are off the charts already. I am so in love with this little human that's inside of me, and I don't even know who it is yet. We had just found out the gender. We had just found out she was a girl. It was a lot of emotions, and my doctor would not get me in for weeks to check it. For weeks. So then I went back to my regular hospital doctor or whatever to get just a checkup kind of routine appointment with her. And they said, we don't see anything that looks like spina bifida or whatever, but my like appointment with the like fetal assessment unit, like the specialists, was the next day. So I was like terrified, but once I heard that, I was like, okay, there's hope. Like, they don't see anything. Hopefully it'll be better. Like, nothing will be wrong. So they actually transferred me down to another hospital down in San Diego, and that's actually where I ended up delivering Talia because of their amenities and stuff, because the hospital here doesn't have a NICU and stuff like that, which we were preparing for with Talia. So I didn't want to give birth here and have her get sent away. Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I want to be where she is. That was the plan all along, and just because they had like better medical down there. So they transferred me there to go see the fetal assessment. doctors in that unit, and I had my first thing, and they were like, oh no, spina bifida, no, not at all, she is growing fine, her spine looks great, and that was such a big relief. Before we left, they told us to make another appointment, just a routine appointment, whatever, in like 5 weeks. We went back down there, and five weeks later, and they were like, she's growing a little small. It looks like her stomach is a lot smaller than her body, and we're concerned. So at this point, they had told me that what it looked like was IUGR. It means intrauterine growth restriction. Basically, like, she's small and different organs of her body could be like not proportionate because of she's not getting like enough nutrients through my placenta. So that's what they were worried about with her stomach. But then her stomach picked up rapidly and like started growing, but her as a whole was not growing. So what they were worried about was like, is there enough like blood flow going through the cord of my placenta to her? Is my placenta working correctly? Is she getting the nutrients? Why isn't she growing? Like, what's going on, kind of thing. Thankfully, I had great nurses and great doctors and great like techs that just like knew what they were doing, and they were awesome. So from that point on, when they noticed that she was getting a little small, they started having me come back once a week. And I was at about 25 to 28-ish weeks at this point. They wanted me to start coming back every week. So I started going once a week. And then she was still small. We were like in the 5th percentile, and then like the 4th and the 6th, and it was just a whole range of stuff, and we were like, oh my God. And then, you know, like IUGR babies can be born like as early as like 20 weeks, man. Like, it's intense and it's scary because you don't know what your baby is going to have once they come out of you, you know? Just, it was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. And, you know, we just gave it up to God, and, you know, God has her, you know? Like, God has me, God has her, everything's gonna be fine. So they got me in like twice a week, and there were even some weeks where it was like 3 times a week. I went in for monitoring, which means I would go in, get an ultrasound, they would measure her head, her stomach, her length, whatever, to the best of their abilities that they can do on an ultrasound. And as you get further along in your pregnancy, ultrasounds aren't as correct or exact, so it became harder. So they would do that. And then afterwards, I would sit on a monitor that detected like her heartbeat and stuff like that, and her movements and all that kind of good stuff. It tested to see if I was having contractions or Braxton Hicks, which are like practice contractions leading up to labor. It tested her heartbeat, like all that kind of stuff, to make sure that she was still okay in there. So I would sit there for like an hour, hour and a half every day, or yeah, every day that I went, which was like 2 to 3 times a week. So that's kind of a lot if you think about it. And plus it's like an hour away, and then we would have to go, like, we would try and do like early mornings, but the traffic was just terrible. Like, going down to San Diego, it's California, traffic sucks. Like, I can't tell you how many times we had to sit in traffic because we had to go do monitoring, which just added more stress to the entire situation. And gas money on top of that too. Gas out here is crazy. It's so much money out here. Appreciate if you got some gas that's good money, because out here it is terrible. Do not move to California. Do that, and everything seemed to be okay, but they don't let IUGR babies go to full term because there's the risk that your placenta is just going to crap out on you, and your baby could be stillborn. So they don't let you go full term. So they were like, we're gonna induce you at 28 weeks. Like, that's what we're on track for. Unless anything changes and goes downhill, we're gonna be inducing you at 28 weeks. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Like, that works for me. That's only 2 weeks sooner than our due date, whatever. And so that had been the plan. And then 35 weeks and like 5 days, I was about to be like 36 weeks pregnant, I started getting so itchy. And if you know about pregnancy stuff, like, you'll know that there's so many things that can mean like things are wrong when you like itch like crazy. Like PUPS, I think it's called, or like PPU or something like that, is which is like a skin irritation you can get when you're pregnant. And then there's cholestasis of pregnancy, which is what I had. So I had developed cholestasis of pregnancy, which makes like your liver enzymes go crazy, and it can mean like your liver's crapping out, which is not good, and it can affect the baby. It adds actually another 20% like chance of like being stillborn. So that was like a 60 or 70% chance that she was going to be stillborn. So I went in. I actually went to labor and delivery because I was like, listen, like, I don't have another appointment with fetal assessment until tomorrow. I am itchy like crazy. I'm worried about cholestasis. Can you do a blood test? Can you see this? Whatever. They're like, yeah, we can totally like monitor her and look at her, whatever. So they did that. And then they came in after sitting in the hospital in labor and delivery for like 4 hours. They come in and they're like, oh yeah, so the lab test to find out like your liver enzymes about cholestasis is gonna take about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, well I'm set to deliver then. Like, was set to get induced then. So like why, like what the hell? So the next day I went to fetal assessment. My like doctor who I'd been seeing, she was amazing, awesome, like best doctor I've ever had. She was like, yeah, we're not gonna wait for that to come back. Your baby is fine to be born a week earlier. There's no reason why we should just get her out. If we can't get these lab results back for 2 weeks, like, you clearly probably have cholestasis of pregnancy. Like, we're not waiting for these lab results. We are doing this. Like, we're taking her out. And I was like, okay, like, so instead of it being like 3 weeks away, it was like 1, and I was like, oh my God, like, I'm having a baby right now. So we were just like, we were trying to get last minute things done. My mom was on her way from New York. She was trying to get here really fast. Like, it was just crazy. So we got set to be induced at 36 weeks and 6 days, and that is what we did. She was born 37 weeks even though, so she wasn't considered preemie. If she was born literally a few hours earlier, she would have been considered preemie, but she was just considered early because she was 37 weeks. So she was full term, but early, if that makes sense. We went in to go get induced, and oh my goodness, it was a roller coaster of emotions. So it was my mom and Michael and I, and we went in, and I was supposed to be there at like 3 or 4 or something like that. And I got there in time. I got it there a little early, whatever. And I was like ready to go. I was like, I'm having this baby. Like, I got this. We got this, guys. Like, so many people are like, I'm so scared for delivery. I'm so scared for birth. And like, I was the same way, like same exact way. But once you're that far along, you're just like, get this thing out of me now. Like, I don't care how it happens, just take it out of me, like, whatever. So I was like, all right, ready to go, like, let's go in, let's go. So I get up to labor and delivery, and they're like, actually, we just had an emergency C-section go in. Most of the doctors and nurses are with that. It's a huge case, whatever. They're like, go get something to eat and come back. And I was like, okay, cool, because I needed to eat. I was just so nervous that day that, like, I think I had, like, some trail mix and, like, a protein bar. I don't think I ate very much. I was so nervous. But they tell you to eat before you go in because you can't eat during labor. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll go eat. So downstairs of the hospital, there was a Subway. So Michael and my mom and I went to Subway. I go back up like half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour later. And they're like, all right, let's go. Like, I walked in and I was just like, hi, like, I came back. They just sent me out. They're like, Lillian Wise? I'm like, yep. They're like, let's go. So I went in, and they first started me off with a pill. It's called Cytotec. It's a tiny little pill, and they put it up your vagina. It's supposed to help soften the cervix and like relax your uterus, cervix area, and help to soften and open it up. So they can only give you 1 dose every 4 hours. So they gave me that at like, by the time I got in, got vitals, an IV in, all that kind of stuff, it was about 5:30. So they put that in about 5, and they came in around 9 to like check. And they had said to me, oh, well, it softened your cervix a little bit, but not very much. But I think if I like work my hand in there, I can manually with my fingers open your cervix. Is that okay? Sure. Like, okay, whatever. And I'm there with my legs wide open, you know, they're up in my hoo-ha. And I'm just like, sure, like I don't want to, whatever. And during this whole thing, I have a very unique blood type. So there is a thing in most everyone's blood that's called IgA. It is the white blood cells that help fight back from like sickness and disease and all that good stuff. And my body doesn't make it. So I get sick all the time, all the time. And like my body just can't fight it back. It's terrible. And that's just the way that I was born. I'm supposed to be wearing a medical bracelet at all time in case like I get in a car accident or anything like that. So if I need a blood transfusion, they will see that I need clean blood, which it's not easy to find. So the hospital, I had told them this when I first came in because, you know, there's always that risk that I'm gonna bleed a lot and I'm gonna need a blood transfusion. So thankfully my mom is an RN, she's a nurse, and so she advocated for me a lot, and like she was able to tell the nurses like exactly what it was on like nurse talk, you know? So it wasn't me like rambling like, I think it's this and this and this. Like my mom was like, this is what she has, she's had it since she was 4, like this. So it was just, that was great. I loved having my mom there. If I didn't have my mom there, I don't know what I would have done. I don't think Michael would have known what to do without my mom. Like the whole experience bonded them real close, which is good. So basically they were like not trying to like speed my labor up too fast because they had to call the Red Cross and they had to fly in blood that had like the lowest IgA that they could find in their system, and then they had to clean it for like hours. They had to like keep washing the blood through and cleaning it and cleaning it and cleaning it for me just in case I needed that transfusion. So she was like, I think I could open it, whatever, and then you won't need another dose of Cytotec with another 4 hours prolonging the labor, because they were like, it's not going to take that long to get your blood cleaned. Like, let's speed this up. Like, poor girls over here, whatever. By this time, I'm not having contractions. I'm starting to cramp, whatever. But the second they opened my cervix, contractions started heavily. So what they did was they opened my cervix and they actually put a Foley bulb up there, which basically think of this as like your cervix. They stick the Foley bulb inside of your cervix, and then imagine my fingertip is like a little ball, and they blow it up and it makes like a balloon right here. So that, and then it's tight like that, but this is huge, and then it like pulls. They come and pull on it so that it like opens your cervix bigger. So I had that in from like 9 at night to like 12, like noon the next day maybe-ish, all night long. Every 30 minutes, the nurse would come and do 2 little tugs, and it hurt like you wouldn't believe. I don't have any words for that. Like, I don't mean to scare any of you pregnant people, but if you get a Foley bulb, like, good luck to you. But when they opened my cervix, I screamed so loud. It was so painful. It hurt so bad. So they were like, we can give you fentanyl. And I was like the street drug? Like, I was so freaked out. And they were like, well, it's clean. It's a great drug when you use it properly. And I was like, okay. So they literally inserted it into my IV, and I was fine. They opened my cervix. Everything was fine. I was all happy. Michael was like, think of Charlie, our dog. And I was just like, I love Charlie. Like, I was just completely out of it. But which helped a lot, so thank God. The nurse came every 30 minutes throughout the night and tugged on my Foley bulb, and there's like there's a string that like comes out of your vagina, and they like pull on it. In the night, there's like a couch thing that you can like kind of make into a bed-ish, and Michael slept over there, and my mom was sleeping with me in the hospital bed, and then they would flip. And there was one time when they even were like sleeping on the couch like crisscross from each other. It was a pretty intense night. You know how most people say like, oh, the moms are really mean to the dads or whatever during labor, like they always get pissed off and stuff. I didn't really have that. Like, there was a few things that like I was just annoyed about, but like, what are you gonna do? You're having a baby. Like, of course you're annoyed. But there was a few things Michael said to me, and I was like, I'm gonna beat you up, but after I'm off these drugs. So I got the Foley bulb, ended up like coming out around like noon, 1-ish, and they had just come in to tug on it, and I was like in and out of sleep because I was on fentanyl and other stuff, and I like woke up out of nowhere, and they had like just came in to tug on it. So like I literally had just fallen asleep, and my mom was laying next to me, and I was like, Mom, it's out. And she's like, what? And I'm like, it's out. It fell out. And she's like, Lillian, it didn't. I'm like, get the nurse now. It fell out. She went out, got my nurse, came in, and they're like, oh yeah, it's out. And I was like, told ya, like, I felt it pop out. From that point on, I was having very, very severe heavy contractions. Like, during the Foley bulb time, I was having severe contractions all night long. It hurt so bad. Thankfully, I was able to sleep a good bit. I mean, I was tossing and turning all night, and every 30 minutes they came in and tugged on it. So, you know, but I was still able to get some sleep, which I'm thankful for, because it was exhausting. But then they were like, all right, we're gonna start you on a small dose of Pitocin, which is to get you into like active labor. A lot of people's doctors start them right off on it, but my doctors did not want to do that. They did the Pitocin, a small dose, and at this point, I was 6 centimeters dilated. By the time that the Foley bulb came out, I was 6 centimeters dilated. Whereas before they put it in, I was nothing. Like, I was nothing dilated, which is crazy because Talia was so low. Like, I carried very, very low, but that was because, like, I think it was because I'm very petite. Like, if you know me, you know I'm very, very petite, and I was even more petite before my pregnancy. But I had wide enough hips, so I think she kind of, like, settled down in my hips instead of, like, up in my ribs. I, like, seriously only remember her kicking my actual ribs, like, once, maybe twice. But she was head down the whole time. They started me on Pitocin, and then they kept telling me, if you want the epidural, you want to make sure you don't get it too late. Like, make sure you get the epidural. Because I had told my mom and Michael, I said, I know myself, I'm probably going to want that epidural, but I don't want it until I ask for it. And they were like, okay, got it. They're like, do you want us to, like, motivate you not to get it? And I was like, no, if I ask for it, you give it to me. Like, I don't want any motivation not to get it. Like, I'm going to get it. And they're like, okay, got it. So at that point, I was 6 centimeters dilated, and I was in crazy amounts of pain. So I got my epidural, and not even 8 to 13 minutes later, I was sitting there and I go, Mom, she's here. And Mom goes, what? I'm like, she's here. It was literally like 8 to 13 minutes after I had gotten my epidural, and I was only 6 centimeters dilated. I was like, she is here. Go get my doctor. So my doctor had just went into, like, or my midwife or whatever, whoever it was, it's a blur. They had just went in to deliver another baby. And I was like, well, what the hell? No, come back. So a midwife came in, and she goes, do you mind if, like, I check you? And she wasn't my, like, nurse, so I was like, yeah, like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I feel her right there. And they're like, yeah, you're 10 centimeters dilated. You're having a baby. You're pushing this baby out. Like, let's go. And I was like, okay. Like, I was just 6 centimeters. Like, what? That happened so fast. So she went out, and she, like, got my doctor, got my nurse. And my nurse was awesome. She was right at my side the whole time, which was awesome. So my nurse helped me do some, like, practice, like, well, it wasn't practice because she was, like, pushing down, but helped me get her down a little bit further down, like, so that she was at least crowning and you could, like, see the top of her head there. So I pushed with her for a little bit. Then she brought my midwife in, and we delivered the baby. It was maybe, like, 20 to 30 minutes of pushing, maybe not even, and it was just, like, amazing. So I pushed, and then her head popped out, and then I gave it one more push, and whole body came out. They came and they put her on my chest, and it was just such a beautiful experience. I had a 2nd-degree tear, and I wouldn't even know it because my epidural, it helped with my contractions, but you still feel pressure down there. And I could still feel my legs. Like, a lot of people can't say they can't feel their legs or can't move them. I could move one of my legs. I couldn't move the other one of my legs. So the one that the nurse was holding up for me, I could feel. The one that Michael was holding, I could not feel at all. So as I'm pushing, my leg was dropping, and Michael's, like, looking at what's happening. He's like, oh my God. And I'm like, pick up my leg. But it was just a beautiful experience, honestly. And just her coming out and being so healthy. And she was perfect. She came out 5 pounds, 12 ounces, 18.5 inches long, and we were expecting her to be like 4 pounds because of the IUGR, even a little smaller maybe. Like, we had no idea what to expect, and the fact that she came out 5 pounds, 12 ounces. Like, we were amazed. Like, oh my God, all the glory be to God for Talia's health and my health and just everything. Like I said, I had a 2nd degree tear, but they stitched me all up down there without me even noticing because I was so involved with my baby on my chest and my husband and my mom and calling my sister to make sure she knew I was okay, and my grandparents and Michael's parents and just everything. It was just a boatload of emotion. So I had no idea that they were stitching me up down there. Like, I mean, I knew, but I didn't really know. Afterwards, they took her for like, I did an hour skin to skin. Then they took her over to like the little heater light lamp thingy, and they didn't clean her off actually. They left like all of her skin like how it was. We did the delayed cord clamping. Michael cut the cord, but when they took her to the lamp thing, they just kind of put, you know, they cuddled her up and whatever, and then Michael got to do some skin to skin. Hello. So once Talia came, it was just like, oh my God, all of our weight was lifted off our shoulders. She was so healthy. She was so perfect. She was so cute. And we were so in love with her. Right?
Yes, definitely.
What was labor like for you? I just told them my part. What do you think?
Like the actual birthing part?
Well, just like the whole labor experience.
It's like staying up really late and getting yelled at for falling asleep. And
I did not yell at you.
And you think the baby's gonna come and it doesn't come until the next day?
I was having contractions. I was in pain. I didn't yell. I was just like, There was one time Michael fell asleep on his knees next to my hospital bed. So props to this little baby. Okay, but seriously, what was it like? Like the whole like.
It looked like you were gutting a deer whenever she came out, and they pulled your placenta and all that out.
There you have it. Gutting a deer. No, but yeah, it turns out that like she was IUGR because my placenta was crapping out, so it literally came out black. Like it looked dead. It was terrible. But thank God that she's good and she's healthy. She is 9 pounds something now, and she's 2.5 months old. She's doing so, so good. We couldn't be prouder or happier about it. And then I breastfed afterwards for 7 weeks, and then I had to stop. I kept getting mastitis and clogged ducts, and it was just putting a lot of strain on me. And, you know, it came down to the fact, well, Talia needs me more than this breast milk because there's formula, you know? And it worked out, and so now she's been on formula now for a few weeks, and she's been doing really great on it and growing and being healthy. So, I mean, I did breastfeeding as long as I personally could, and it was just a huge strain on me as a mother and as a wife and as an individual.
Both of us, because I couldn't feed her. Yeah. I mean, I could try to, but nothing would come out.
Shut up. But, yeah. So that's kind of the story. I'm going to insert a little clip of Talia's birth here for you guys. I'm not going to show too much just because like we filmed the whole thing and it's pretty graphic. So I'm not going to show all the parts of it, but there's a little bit for you guys there to see and look at. Hi guys, it's us. Hi. Michael's over there.
Hi guys.
So we're getting moving. We're going. They broke my water while they were in there, so contractions are starting to pick up more.
Hold it in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. 3, 4. Harder. 5. Down here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Let it out.
Push.
Give me a little push.
Give me a push. Little one. Happy birthday, sweet girl. Good cry. Good job.
That's her baby.
Great, strong cry.
Oh my gosh, he looks so good. Are you in love?
Right between it. All right. Here's
There's your
extra time.
baby.
Would I cut?
Right between there. Right
Right
there.
there.
Chewy like a gummy bear.
I don't want to put
Yeah.
She's precious.
Excellent work. Okay.
I love you, Talia.
Look at her, she's trying to look at you.
She's looking. Hey, Talia, it's Daddy.
Look at her little nose. She's like, don't make fun of my nose. It's okay.
That's what we want to hear is that crying. Right?
It's okay, sweetie. You can touch her.
I touch you.
You can touch her. She's your baby.
And Dad, if you
Does she need to be taken over there?
No, no, we don't see any reasons at the moment.
Okay.
Look at that little cheek.
I know. She's so sweet. You're so baby girl. Hi,
And
Char.
Always
Say hi to the vlog.
Always prepare yourself by bringing video games and a bunch of snacks.
We brought our Nintendo Switch and we played Mario Kart on our hospital TV in my delivery room. And then, yeah, I would just definitely, like, if you guys want me to do, like, what I packed in my hospital bag, also let me know. If you want me to do any other kind of videos, too, I will. That has to do with this, but this is gonna be a long video, so I'm really sorry about that, but it's a lot to put into one. Like, basically just discussed a whole year of my life in one video. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are finally happy that I got down to sit down and talk about this, because I know it's been a long time in coming. I really needed to do it, so I'm happy that I was able to finally get this out for you guys, and so you guys could know kind of like a little bit more of our story and what we went through with the pregnancy and with Talia, and why we feel so blessed to be where we are now, that Talia is perfectly healthy and hitting all of her milestones and just being a perfect little baby. So, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.
If y'all have any comments, questions, or concerns, or video ideas for me to do something,
Let us know what you guys want to see more from us,
Or-
and we will do it.
cooking videos.
Anything. Let us know. You just want to know more about our life?
I cook, I skateboard, I box.
Okay, stop. We'll do anything for you guys. Honestly, whatever you guys want to see from us in our lives, that we will show you, because this is our life. If you want to see more things about parenting, anything like that, sit down videos, day in the life with us, let him out. If you guys want to see anything, just let us know, and we will try our best to make those videos for you guys. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So we'll see you next time. Bye.